So I think most of us can agree that we were pretty excited when Hayden Christensen was announced to return as Darth Vader for the Kenobi series. Obviously there were some people out there who didn't like that announcement. Obviously there's still people out there who don't like Hayden's acting in the prequel trilogy, and there's still some people out there who absolutely hate the prequel trilogy, even though I believe that those people are a dying breed, especially ever since Disney bought Star Wars. But the prequel trilogy was my Star Wars. That's the Star Wars that I watched growing up. Hayden Christensen is the reason why I love Star Wars today, so I was extremely happy. As soon as Hayden Christensen was announced to return, I called all of my friends who cared about Star Wars. Most of them didn't answer their phone, but you get the point. And if you're like me and you were one of those people who were extremely excited about Hayden Christensen returning, then I have some great news for you. We're going to talk about Hayden Christensen being in some other shows other than the Kenobi show, and we're going to talk about Revan being confirmed for a live action debut. This video is going to be crazy. It's been rumored and reported like crazy that Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader will show up in the Andor series, and it makes total sense. Of all the Disney Plus shows coming up other than Kenobi, it makes the most sense for Hayden Christensen to return in Andor. I think followed closely by the Ahsoka show, which we'll talk about a little bit later if Hayden will appear in that show or not. But here we have an article from the Direct, and it says Star Wars Andor set photos reveal the Empire's involvement. Andor will see the return of Diego Luna portraying the titular character, and it was confirmed that he will be joined by other Star Wars characters from the film, such as Mon Mothra. Hot details are still unknown, but it was already teased that the show will have a similar tone to The Empire Strikes Back. Now, what kind of tone did The Empire Strikes Back have? It had an extremely dark, extremely Vader-centric tone, and it's heavily reported that Darth Vader will make an appearance in Andor, and I think it's even going to be for more than one episode. At this stage, production for Andor is in full swing in the United Kingdom, with various set photos hinting at the large scale of the show. Now, a new batch of set photos has emerged, seemingly teasing the involvement of a dangerous threat. While it's already confirmed that the Empire will be involved in a major way in Andor, these leaked set photos should serve as a primer for things to come for the series. Given that the show is set before Rogue One and A New Hope, it makes sense for the Stormtroopers to have much larger presence, and this could spell trouble for Cassian and his allies. Not only does it make sense for the Stormtroopers to have a much larger presence, but it also makes sense for Darth Vader to have a much larger presence as well. If we do see Darth Vader in this show, he's going to be the Vader that we saw in Rogue One in that hallway scene, and it's going to be Hayden Christensen inside the suit. I cannot wait for this to happen. Based on the show's premise, Andor creates the perfect opportunity to showcase the harsh treatment of the Empire to the galaxy, while also featuring the process of how the Rebel Alliance slowly becomes the beacon of hope for those individuals that are being oppressed. So you might be thinking that most of that information that I just showed you was already known. We already knew the Empire would have a big presence in the Andor show. It only makes sense. But then you go to the writers section for the Andor show IMDb page, and something very interesting is on there. If you look under series writing credits, George Lucas is his credit, and next to his name it says characters for 2 episodes. So a couple months back, when people first started figuring out that George Lucas was listed as a writer for the Andor show, we all kind of freaked out. We all kind of overreacted a little bit, and we thought that George Lucas was back in Star Wars. George Lucas is going to take over Star Wars once again. And obviously after those initial emotions went away, we all kind of came to our senses and realized that that wasn't happening. But I still do think that him being listed as a writer for characters on the IMDb page for Andor does say something. I think it means that characters that George Lucas created are going to be in the Andor show, and I think it means Darth Vader. We have all these reports that Darth Vader is going to be in the Andor show and some other shows. We have all these reports saying that the Empire is going to be a big presence for the Andor show, and we have George Lucas listed as a writer for characters in the Andor show. I just think all signs point towards Darth Vader showing up, and I also think it would be a huge missed opportunity if he didn't show up in the Andor show in some fashion. He doesn't have to be the main character for multiple episodes. He just has to make a little cameo here and there. He doesn't even have to have another hallway scene level scene. He could just have another scene like in Rogue One between him and director Krennic. But I think it would be a huge missed opportunity if Darth Vader wasn't in the Andor series, because it makes perfect sense for him to be in the Andor series. But let's move on to this insane Revan news that we've been getting, and like I said in my video yesterday, things are changing at Lucasfilm. You can just tell that a huge power shift just happened because they're pushing all of this Legends content. When Disney Star Wars has made it clear over and over again that they hate anything that was created under George Lucas, Disney Star Wars has made it clear over and over again that they want to let the past die, but it seems like they're going back on that. And once again, I see Kathleen Kennedy as the type of person that's going to stick to her guns whether or not she's dead wrong. I don't think Kathleen Kennedy would ever greenlight them bringing back these Legends books, bringing back these old video games, these old movies, and I definitely don't think Kathleen Kennedy or anyone in her faction wants to have Revan be a main character in an upcoming TV show. This article from Inside the Magic says Darth Revan reportedly coming to Disney Plus in confirmed series. There have been so many rumors surrounding Knights of the Old Republic video game character ancient Sith Lord Darth Revan finally making his live-action Star Wars debut that it seems inevitable at this point. It's been seeming inevitable for years and years because it just makes sense for someone who's that loved to be in Star Wars again. It just makes sense for you to take someone who's that loved and put them in live action. It's a money machine. But like I said, Disney Star Wars hates everything that was created under George Lucas. They don't want to take anything from the George Lucas era because they want everything to be fresh and new for whatever reason. Now, a new installment of the HoloNet Marauder podcast indicates that Revan might be appearing in a Star Wars series that has already been confirmed. This means that that fans might get to see the complex characters sooner than they were expecting. And here's the official report from the podcast. If you're a fan of Knights of the Old Republic, Darth Revan will be coming back into canon very soon in something Disney Plus related. There's going to be a big push for Sith characters post-Mando. That's going to be Disney's big Disney Plus slate, starting with the Acolyte. Obviously the timeline won't match up, but I know for sure there was concept art out there of Revan in a hologram, which I believe is for Acolyte. It will kind of tease his own series eventually. Now once again, it just makes sense for them to bring Revan into live action. It's literally a cash cow just sitting there waiting to be milked. And let's be real, the Acolyte is kind of gonna have that Bad Batch syndrome where the general public is not gonna be super excited for the Acolyte. But if Revan makes a cameo in that show, Star Wars Twitter will go so crazy that everyone in the general public will have to take notice. People in the general public will be wondering what the hell we're talking about, and they're gonna want to check the show out. It's gonna make everyone in the general public just want to watch this show. And also the show is supposed to focus on the dark side, so it just makes so much sense for Revan to appear in this show. And like I said earlier, they're bringing back all of this old content. They're remaking the KOTOR game. They're bringing back Legends books. They did an HD port for Republic Commando. They put the Ewok movie back on Disney Plus, and now Revan is supposed to appear in the Acolyte. It just makes sense for Revan to come into Star Wars, especially after the fans have been begging for it for so long. And it just makes sense for this news to break now after all of the recent news that we've had about old content coming back. It just makes sense. So let me know what you think in the comments. Are you excited for Andor? And what do you think about Revan appearing in the Acolyte? Do you think that's gonna happen, or do you think there's no way that that ever happens? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to support the channel, check out all of the new merch that I just dropped. The link to that will be in the description. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord, both of those links will be in the description as well. But thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you on the next one.